Hey everybody, we are back for the conclusion of round one, the back nine. Carry on with the action, and I am joined with our good friend here. Say what's up, my friend.
What's up, everybody? This is Philo Brathwaite.
How's it going, man? Welcome back to the show. What did you think so far of the Innova Islands course?
It looks fun to me, man. I feel like I'd be right there with Martin, 7 out of 9, cruising right along.
I like the confidence. I like that a lot. And big shout out to the Ettyville SuperSpin. That is John Pytel's company and all the work they've done with building that private course, and all our friends out at the ODSA as well. Man, you guys have done so much for Ontario Disc Golf to help us be able to bring things that are sanctioned, put golf courses in the ground. And Chris Oz, you know how much we appreciate that. So thanks, buddy. Oh boy, I am so stoked to have you on the show, Philo. Thanks so much for supporting us. It's great to have some experienced insight.
Thanks, man. I mean, I'm just enjoying being a part of commentary recently. You know, it's not something I really seeked out. It just kind of found me, and I've been having a blast, and it's very nice, and it feels good to be asked to do this with you, man. I don't know how else to describe it, man. I'm very smiley and happy.
Cool, man. Well, all the Canadians around here appreciate that. We'll jump into the action. Martin with a pretty strong front nine here, 7 down through 9. No red paint whatsoever. Chris Oz right on his tail, 5 down. What do you think was the big difference between Martin and the other 3 players, getting those extra couple strokes?
Just a couple of putts, really. I mean, you saw the couple of putts that Cam missed. Casey was right there for a couple of putts on some of those par threes. I think it was the second or third hole, the 400-foot, 396, all of them. But they all had to look at birdie. They didn't connect, and that's really the big difference between touring pros and up-and-coming pros is just the level of putts made, just the consistency around the putting green.
Speaking of putts, here's all the all the players practicing away in the background there. So just in conclusion from hole 9, we did see 3 birdies and a par out of Casey. I expect to see this action kind of open up now. I think you're going to see a big change as we go into the back 9 in this course.
Well, let's watch to find out, huh?
Yeah, man. You'll see. Wait till you see this first hole coming up. Number 10, par 4.
Wait for it.
Par 4, 595 feet. You've got both routes, wide left or up the center here. And this little fun fact, this used to be a motocross course. Yeah, and then they upgraded it and turned it into a disc golf course.
Yeah, the moguls definitely add some character, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. It gives these guys an opportunity now to put all the power in behind their swings and see what they can do with it.
Martin, beautiful. Center cut fairway.
Next up, Chris Oz, showcase all his power. Look at this.
Oh, that's coming out.
Nice, big, wide Annie. Hope it doesn't overflex too much.
Uh-oh. Definitely a lot more left than he wanted that to be.
Yeah, not quite understable enough, or a little bit too much air under the disc.
Cam with a big blast.
Well out there in the middle of the fairway. Nicely done.
I remember doing the camera work on that shot, and I couldn't see the disc till the last second. It was like this really light pink color.
I do a terrible shot. I sub probably for birdie or at least. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I heard your win.
Go. All right, Oz trying to work his way up here.
Got a little bit of work to do to get up on that mogul. Hard to see what happened there at the finish. A little short, maybe.
Kind of just came near this power pole.
A little bit early.
That's a great shot.
Well, I mean, he's had all that space out there wide left of the basket to kind of work up the berm of the hill, and kind of got a little bit more work than you'd probably like from being out there in the open in the fairway.
Yeah, especially with these moguls, too. When you're putting on to them and you miss that basket, you're 30 feet past, especially if you commit.
Sure, if you blow by, that's definitely a risk when you're putting on elevated baskets, You have to have the touch to be able to set the disc in there and not just go screaming past it, you know?
Speaking of touch, a little bit too far.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's kind of got a little bit of work to do there to make a 3. We got one guy playing for 4, Chris. See him walking up there. He's got to get up and down to save his par. There you go.
That's a great shot.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it. A little bit of tailwind, it looks like there for Cam.
So
Great line
close.
again. He's so accurate. He's on line, but man, it's so hard to keep the disc on the chains the whole way. You know, that's a tough part of this game is really committing to that airspace between you and the chains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it look so easy. Oh boy.
Oh, he had
That's
nice
an example.
You see how he didn't really get to the basket without it kind of hooking up, so it was running out of speed, so it didn't go blowing by too fast. That's in his range. He'll be fine. Another chain out. Knurl on the backside, side hill.
Let's see what Marty does here.
That's
There you go.
Clean up putt for Martin. I expect him to make 95% of those. There you go. Nice smooth rhythm there from Casey. Nice balance. If you notice that.
He's a big guy too, eh? He's probably 6'4", I think. Big, tall guy, long arms, a lot of power.
Doesn't really matter how big or tall or short or wide or any of that stuff. You know, the way that you shift your body weight and maintain balance has a lot to do with your success on the putting green.
Isn't that a cool thing about this sport too? How any body type can be successful.
Absolutely. You know,
Look at this.
It's just like traditional golf. You see a wide variety of extremely savvy and capable golfers, you know, like in their body types and their shapes and their builds, you know, and very similar in disc golf. If you have athletic ability, you can make your body rotate and turn, and you can make the disc move.
I love that about this sport. Well, moving on to hole 11. This is another par 3, 292 feet. Just a straight shot. You've got this mogul on the left here. A lot of tree line here on the right. And I don't believe there's any OB anywhere.
Excellent. Yep. Be licking my chops with a DX rock, looking at that left to right kind of slider right down the middle. Try to just set the disc into the basket.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Marty's throwing a rock right now.
Yeah, he played it up the right side and looks like he caught some of the foliage and batted him down a little early.
A little farther than he wanted to be.
That's why I
That's okay.
want to play the left side, you know what I mean? Maybe not quite as wide as the flick's going to take the route. It's got all kinds of space to work with, and dang near dunks that thing in there. Based it.
Here's another Nate Sexton Firebird.
Yep. See how all the angles matched on that? You see how his body was nice and wide to the attacking angle he wanted the disc to fly?
Look at the shot he got out of that.
That was excellent. He technically did everything sound, and that's why he got such a great result. That's got to hustle back, right? Not bad. Probably circle's edge. Just inside circle one. Nice drive there. So crazy how the sidearm game has become so, you know, prominent in the disc golf scene. I remember when there were hardly any guys that utilized the sidearm game. Probably think of a handful that were any good at it to mention, and now it seems like everybody's got it in their game.
What do you think is the reason for that?
Because
it's a great shot. It's super useful.
The courses are becoming a little bit more diverse. You know, I remember when I started playing, there was 80% hyzers on most courses. You know what I mean? You could shape the shot in there pretty effortlessly with the straight hyzer throws. Everything was on a hyzer angle out the hand, and now there's a lot of holes that are moving right to left, left to right. And that sidearm game just eliminates a lot of the stress of the backhand throw. And if you can utilize both, I mean, it just opens up every course to you.
Do you think this is also because of disc technology and techniques?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with that. I mean, in the early days of my career, I remember some guys, not many, would throw some sidearm struts and they would just work everything, work the understable to the overstable. And that was their main thing. They would have no backhand, but they really understood their sidearm game well. And there were discs that could handle it, but technology now is just so much easier to manipulate. You can really depend on those overstable edges and really get all that torque on the disc going in the opposite direction and straighten the disc out.
Yeah, it's so cool how that has happened.
And it maintains the speed. See, the thing is back in the day, those things, there were discs that could do it, but they were so slow it would never glide. It's only turning the whole time.
Right.
Now there's discs that are super fast and extremely glidey, so you get them up to speed, you get them to level off, and they just keep on cruising. That's where that's where distance is achieved. It's not in making the disc turn side to side. It's how long can you make the disc glide forward.
To get the most amount of distance and still be able to get the accuracy at the end.
That's the way I perceive it, the way that I design my game. It's just, look at how Martin throws. He doesn't, really shape a lot of big obtuse angles. Everything's pretty narrow and tight, and he's getting most of his flights forward instead of side to side.
You're absolutely right. Actually, it's interesting that you've explained it that way, because I never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. No wonder Marty gets those distances that way. He does exactly what you're saying.
Well, just watch the way that he throws. It describes everything, I mean, the disc is telling the story of what the body just did. So every time you watch a person's action, you should be able to understand why the disc responded a certain way, because the machine is telling you the story.
Yeah, you absolutely need to keep doing commentary. You're a fascinating guy.
Thanks, man. I've had a lot of years to dissect this stuff and watch a lot of players, and I have a very analytical mind when it comes to athletics, and
I see that.
I just really have to put the pieces together to make it make sense in my mind so my body can, do the right actions. And Martin just puts another one 5 paces off the basket for another tap-in birdie, showing the guys how to hang one out there, ride that OB line, and dump in at the last second.
All right, well, first up is Chris Ozolins. Long putt.
Nice aggressive bid. Just a hair off
there.
The mark. Mm-hmm.
Casey with the same bid.
Great effort. I like the pace of his putts, man. When they get to the basket, they just die out. He's not screaming past. No, not another one.
Ouch.
Those just eat me up inside. I can totally feel Cam's pain.
Clean up that par. I don't think any of these guys are happy with this.
Well, this next guy's going to be real stoked because he's just going to take a nice deep breath and pop that in there like a warm-up putt. Martin has a very unorthodox putt when he's that close, in my opinion. He doesn't get much rock in his sway. He just kind of like jabs the disc in there.
His putting style is very unique. It's very controlled, and it's like a spin putt spring.
Yeah. If I were coaching anybody, if I were giving him advice, which I'm not trying to, he's totally, a great player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but if I were explaining his putting style to another player, I would say just try to lengthen that putting stroke out a little bit and not jab at it so hard. But he's worked at it really hard, and he's got control over it, and he's the only guy that got a 2 on that hole, so I will keep my mouth shut.
Marty's the most humble guy. I mean, he loves to take advice on stuff. Oh yeah, for sure.
Fantastic competitor. When you're out there with him on the course, he's class act all the way, and can't ask for anything more than that.
And he loves being a super consistent player. He's got his way of doing things, and that's the way he's going to do it. And it doesn't matter what's happening. That's his strat.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to develop that for yourself as a golfer. You just have to, formulate your way of playing the game.
Hole 13, par 4, 461 feet. This is a good opportunity to go for an eagle, well within all of these players' range.
It's a little downhill too, so it should be a little bit more accessible. 430, 440 range is kind of where most guys are kind of comfortable putting a full rip on it and maintaining control, and a little bit of help
This
from the
looks
downhill
really
grade.
good.
That's not
Wow.
bad. Not bad.
It's farther than it looked from the other camera angle.
I mean, you get the touring guys up here, they're throwing spike hyzers on this basket all day long,
Mm-hmm.
It's just
This
the
really needs to get over.
difference in, abilities between, your average pro and your touring pro. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you've seen how much golf has changed just in the last 2 or 3 years. All you guys now have got throws that, man, it's incredible what you guys can do.
Well, I don't know if I'm included in the you guys category when it comes to throwing far.
Oh, I don't know about that. I've seen what you can do, man.
I don't know.
You can hold your own.
Yeah, not against a guy like Eagle or Simon or Macbeth or Garrett Girthy. Like, not even close, man. Those dudes outthrow me by a couple 100 feet.
And why is that? What is it that makes them so mechanically able to do that?
They're younger, and they're a lot of these guys have really trained and focused on throwing far, and that's just not something that I really did.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it's just natural ability. I mean, look at Thomas. I mean, he's a long, scrappy guy, and he's just very limber and flexible and fast, and gets the disc up into the air at the right place and good angles, and lets the disc do the work.
The first time I ever saw Thomas Gilbert throw hard, I couldn't believe at the crack sound it made when that disc left his hand.
Our first tournament back after the COVID break, I played with him and Anthony Barella out here in Oceanside, and watch back and forth trading 550-foot plus bombs, and I'm just poking my 4 and change out there. Is just kind of like, okay, like I didn't have any daydreams of keeping up with those guys. I mean, that's just too much to handle. I mean, the course has to be way more technical than that for me to have a fighting chance,
Because of that extra distance.
Absolutely. I mean, just watch the videos, man. Watch what these guys are doing, and you put them up against guys that are capped off in the 450 range, and they're able to outthrow them, and most of the time have putter approaches, and you're still throwing fairway or distance driver to get onto the green. I mean, the percentages are always in their favor.
Well, recapping hole 13, Martin continues to hold the lead at 9 down. A couple of 7 downs there from Oz and Cam.
Martin almost
Casey.
banged an eagle there, not to be overshadowed. I mean, he took a nice stab at it, came up just a hair short off the front rim. Great bid, but walks away with his birdie, maintains his lead, and pushing on to hole 14 here.
This hole is 298 feet. It's kind of an island shot, so you definitely have to land onto this green here. This telephone pole looks like it's holding on for dear life. Or power pole, excuse me.
I'm sure all these guys are thinking this has got to be a deuce hole. You got to stick it in there tight, make your birdie putt. Martin take a real straight line at this one and setting it in there nicely.
Look at that shot. I mean, is that unusual?
No, not on tour. You see that shot all the time.
What a beautiful shot.
Chris taking the wide route there, swinging it in, coming up just a hair short for an ace run, but well within the circle for a birdie look.
Three players, 3 different strategies. Look at this.
That's just lethal right there. When you can do that,
Wow.
just karate chop your sidearm out there and just let it dive bomb on the basket and drop in birdies all day.
Casey, same strat as Cam.
A little bit wider.
Way
Doesn't-
too short.
Yeah,
That is an ouchies. That's definitely not an OB stroke you want to take at all.
go to a drop zone, it looks like, and pitch up and scramble his 4, and probably not make that mistake the next time around. I bet you that.
No, that's not a stroke you want to give up whatsoever. All right, Martin putting here for 2.
I'll be completely honest, man. Every once in a while, I really struggle with an island green hole.
It's not uncommon. I've seen enough play on this particular hole, for example, that this is one of the ones that people make a lot of mistakes and either take threes or fours when it feels like it should be a relatively easy two.
Well, I mean, it does from the looks of it. There's nothing in the way. There's no mandatories to make. I mean, it looks like a pretty generous sized island. I mean, typically on tour, they don't give us that much space to go on an island. It's usually the size of the circle or smaller or some awkward shape where only one side of the green or one area of the green per se will be as deep as the circle's edge. And then you got to like really, you know, jackknife or tombstone the thing in there or land extremely flat and soft with a putter or mid-range. And I don't know, sometimes those shots get into my head too. So it's not, don't feel bad, Casey. It happens to the best of us.
Well, cleaning up hole 14, Marty moves into the double digits at 10 down. Chris and Cam right on his tail at 8 down. Casey with an unfortunate bogey there, gives up a couple of strokes and pushes down. Hole 15, par 3, 318 feet, slightly elevated. This rough here in the center here, this is all a B, so you've got to get past this and land on the island on the other side.
That's a cool design. I like that.
Yeah.
It's not the longest hole, but I mean, you can't come up short, you know what I mean? And I really like that about holes like that, where you really got to have your speed and your distance dialed in and give that disc some air to make it that whole distance. Martin throwing another really straight. Oh, that faded out a bit early. I don't know if
stays in bounds. He's okay.
Yeah, it looked like the wind kind of caught him up or something. That was weird.
Big forehand.
A lot of angles on that disc. Could have leveled that off a bit more with that line and parked.
Just a few degrees turn to the left. This looks really good. See?
A little early again for a hole that's only 320. You'd expect to see some shots landing more pin high,
Mm-hmm. So far, the best shot out of the bunch. Let's see what Casey can do.
Yeah, it looks early. Or is it standing up? Oh, it stood up.
Oh, it is.
Beautiful. That's what I was expecting to see. Nicely done.
There you go.
That stood up so nicely. Nice clean hyzer. The disc stood up and glid 90% of the way to the target. That was awesome.
Marty with a decent run.
We're playing on a video card and they're not catching up to us.
Oh, it looks like Casey's going to get one stick back on one of the guys for sure.
Great putt from Oz.
I think that's why they want to change that rule, man. That just looks too close to call,
Well, this has been discussed a lot. There's just players that know how to throw. Oh, look how unfortunate that is.
Oh, my goodness, man. Cam is getting the short side of the stick of this putting baskets and breaks and whatnot.
Ouch. It's but no, it's there's just at this point now it's too close to call, and asking the other three players to police a shot like that's so close. You don't want to be,
it causes
that kind of negative energy on the card, especially if other people aren't going to back it.
I wouldn't say that it's negative energy. Usually it's negative when the person who's receiving the call can't handle it or doesn't agree, and then it becomes negative. I think that's a big part of the reason why it should be adjusted is just to eliminate that altogether,
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we either need marshals on our card or that rule needs to go.
Well, we're certainly getting to that point.
Something's got to happen. I mean,
yeah. I agree. I
just think it looks weird that the player can progress the lie visually. They're way beyond the mark by the time their disc leaves, even if their foot's still back there. Just
absolutely.
Just looks weird to me. Anyway, moving on. Hole 16.
Par 3, 230 feet. This is a pretty straightforward shot as well.
Is this tall grass all out of bounds?
Yes, this whole line along the right side, all this tall grass, all plays as OB.
Well, if you got a really good putter shot, you can go pretty aggressive right at it. It's got a lot of space behind it that you can, settle down quickly or go at the flick, which is a very obvious advantage with all that OB out there to the right and plenty of space to the left.
Comes up short, still leaves a little bit more meat on the bone than he probably
Just
wanted to.
not too bad. I mean, it's a touch shot. It's 250. You're just flicking the wrist and letting the disc do all the work, you know? Not even 250. It's 230. So look at these guys. They're just going little quarter swings at it, you know? Nicely done.
Favorable roll, that'll work.
Nicely done. Martin going real straight, direct line with the putter. Not quite
Shot.
aggressive enough for an ace run, but he's in there tight, well inside circle one. Cam taking a bit higher approach in there and bump and run up in there. Nicely done. Yeah, these holes, you got to get them. No.
Oh, no.
Pushed
I was
another.
trying to close that gap.
Yeah, I think when you inside circle one and you see the disc fade away from the target so quickly, it's usually because the arm came outside of the frame of his body, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. Usually when you're lining up your putt, you're trying to keep your arm within the frame of your body. You don't want to see your arm go swinging out past your body, you know? You're trying to drive
Absolutely.
the disc forward. And I think sometimes if you watch the videos or if you just kind of watch yourself when you're playing or just pay attention to what your body's doing, when you push the disc out wide, it's usually the arm sliding out past the frame of the body.
The observations you have on body mechanics are fascinating to me. I love listening to stuff like that because the way you explain it makes it so easy to understand.
That's why they like to come to my clinics, man.
I can see that. Hole 16?
With that over the years, man, just giving people good information, try to make it digestible and relatable.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out some of the stuff you're doing because it's just fascinating how you've taken this game and figured out how to explain it in such a way where, like, I'm listening to you and I'm visualizing what you're talking about, and I'm like, wow, I've never thought about it like that before. But you're totally right.
So remember we were talking about those island greens? These are the kind of holes that really start messing with my head, man. Those little touch. It looks like there's a ton of space, and then you just come up short, or you hang on to it a little too long, or you over-gas it on the speed,
Well, there's pressure too, right? Because you're supposed to.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be so easy, right?
That's exactly why. Just because there's pressure, you want to be so close. And Martin taking another good stab.
Good run from Marty there.
He's got such great control with his disc, man.
He's lethal. I would not want to bet against him to make an ace in any tournament.
Another nice tombstoning kind of sidearm there from Cam, making sure it hits and goes nowhere. Beautiful.
That was fantastic.
Absolutely. Dang near put that on the pole there.
Casey with a big putt here. A little short.
Oh, no, it's a big putt. No, it's just undercommitted, man. Martin never got the disc on the center. There's one dead center.
See, it's not necessarily the 700-foot holes or the 500-foot holes that give people trouble. Sometimes it really is shorter holes.
Yeah, man, having touch, it's hard to do when you can throw the disc 400 plus feet to slow everything down. Like a lot of people don't really practice those things. It's exciting to watch the disc go far.
Absolutely, it is.
It's exciting to shape 350-foot drives, but when you got to just, slow things down and just shape 225 feet, you should be doing like Martin there, man, just a standstill or a one step. There's no need to do 4 steps on a run up when you're throwing 230 feet.
Well, we've got a tight race here at the moment. 11 down for Marty, Chris Oz, and Cam Zanini right hot on his tail at 10 down. Casey seems to have fallen back a little bit at 7 down, but still plenty of golf to play.
I wouldn't say falling off too bad. He's still right in the mix, man. Handful of strokes is nothing when you're in the first round of the tournament.
Well, let's see what happens on hole 18. 547 feet. You've got this straight shot down this huge fairway, and then you've got these two kind of weird trees that hit all the way to the bottom. If you get behind them, you can't really throw through it. You wrap around up above. What's that?
Were those pepper trees?
I'm not sure what they're called. It could very well be. I don't know the name of them. But the idea is, or the theory is, to try to get to the right of those trees in the middle.
Yes.
But he's come up really wide here on the left instead. I don't know what the angle looks like through that particular line.
Really getting over on this one, trying to stretch it out down that right side and fade back late. Just a hair early, it looks like, for being ideal in the middle of the gap.
That's not a bad shot. I think he'll be fine from there.
Hopefully he doesn't have any obstructions with the low ceiling. Martin playing one nice and wide and straight. He may not make the turn. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, brutal break. Just not enough stability on that disc. Just hung on that glide a little too long.
This looks like the perfect shot.
Casey's putting a move on that one. There you go.
Oh, yeah. That'll work.
There you go. That was awesome.
I guess my body was just telling me
Got a better look now at Cam's first shot.
He still had some room to work.
Yeah, he's fine.
That's a beautiful hole.
But he just comes up short in that goldenrod, picks
Oh,
up an
hey.
OB.
Didn't realize there was OB so close.
Yeah, that goldenrod just at the top of the hill through to the other side is all OB around it. Plays like a mini island at the end.
That's kind of cool.
That's
like
a great shot.
Yeah, he's in there looking for his birdie, right?
Yep.
Now
Marty's throwing way over the trees.
A little bit deep. He'll have that for his par.
That's good, Marty. Insane. A little sharp. It didn't get over.
Casey really wants to pick up this stroke right here. Little deep, but not too bad. Looking down at the basket, about 7-8 paces off. This for par. Cam. That'll be a tap in for a bogey. Sure, that's a disappointing way to end a round after battling so well with these guys for the first 18. There's a putt.
Great putt.
There's
effortless.
Nice rhythm, nice balance, nice flow. That's what I like to see.
Marty thinking this through. Does not want to put red on his card if he can help it. Good shot.
Yeah, they sure do sneak in right over the rim of the basket sometimes, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
He puts so nose down that they're like losing elevation every inch out of his hand and just barely sneak over the rim sometimes.
There's a great birdie out of Chris Oz.
Chris definitely wanted that birdie, and so did this guy. Was trying to get that bird and a little too aggressive and pays for it with a bogey.
yeah, I think it is because it's just
All right.
Another look at that putt.
Look at this beautiful, effortless putt. There we have it. First round. Out of the way. Just looking at the recap and the scores. Marty holding the lead at a -11. Chris Oz sneaks up and ties it.
Yeah, got a two-way tie for the lead. Little flippity flop there right at the end in case he gets a bird and gets a little closer to Cam and a couple closer or one closer to the other guys. So it's a very competitive card so far, very competitive field. Let's see what happens in round two, huh?
Oh, it's fantastic. Look how much green. Chris Oz putting up the strongest round between the four with a 24. Marty and Cam both putting 26s up, and Casey at a 27. Still 3 down on the round. Not too bad. Or, excuse me, on the
A
back
little bit of a
nine.
roller coaster there. A couple of missed putts by the guys, but overall some really solid play.
It really is a game of putting in the end, isn't it? especially at this
It
level.
usually boils down to the putts, man. Most of the big tournaments are always one on the putting green, you know?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
One or
right.
lost. Yeah, you got to get the disc in the fairway, but if you can't get it in the hole, then you're not winning. That's for sure.
Well, looking at a big recap here, it looks like Josh Prine and Cam Zanini are tied for 4th position, so we'll see what that happens as we move through the cards. Casey Hanemayer sitting in 6th. Pretty solid play, but the game is so close right now. And Casey Forbes and Reggie McGrath tied for 7th place at 7 down. Great action so far. What do you think? How do you feel about Canadian golf so far?
Oh, it's looking beautiful, man. I mean, the landscape is gorgeous. The course looks fun and attackable and like a good time. You got a little bit of challenging, a little bit of, remedial, a little bit, kind of simpler shots out there to keep it fun and exciting. But you got the OBs that it's not just a free-for-all. It's not, wide open. Whatever you do, there's no penalties for anything. So it looks like a really fun and interesting course so far. Can't wait to see what the next one looks like.
Awesome. Well, the next course we'll be playing on is the Prodigy course, so we'll be checking that out next in round 2. And a big shout out to all of our Patreons and everybody that supports the channel, all the customers that come into the shop and buy discs and everything. We use all of the money we generate from the store to help pay for coverage, help to be able to go out and film events and support all the local tournament scene. So thank you so much for everybody for watching. Philo, it's phenomenal to have you here, man. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for that. It's great to have your insights, and we'll see everybody back for round 2. Any last things to say, Philo?
Let's get after it, man. Round 2 coming right up, everybody.
All right. See you soon, guys. Round 2 coming up next.